To live in the world without becoming aware of the meaning of the world is like wandering about in a great library without touching the books. Hello and welcome back to my channel. As you can see in the title, this is my review of The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. First book finished of October, and it's only the 5th. I overall very enjoyed this. This will be spoiler free. I really enjoyed this book. It really surprised me how much I liked it. This is the fourth Dan Brown book I've read. Third, Robert Langdon. So Dan Brown has made this kind of series. They're not connected. You could read them out of order, but Robert Langdon series. There's 5 books out, and this is the third one. The third. Robert Langdon that Dan Brown published, so I'm just reading the publication order. And I really love this. I love these books so much. I don't talk about thriller books that much on this channel, because I mostly talk about fantasy, sci-fi. But thriller books I think I might incorporate sometime in here when I read a thriller book, because I love Dan Brown so much. He makes me hooked. He makes me learn, and I find myself, after reading about something, I find myself going and searching a bunch of things up and getting lost in the rabbit hole of whatever he told me. Like, I learned so many things, from geography to religion to just history, American history, because this book takes place in Washington, D.C. You get to learn many landmarks of Washington, more than the commonly known ones, like the Washington Monument, White House, Capitol Building. You get to know like the churches and the museums, and it's just so educational in a way, but very, very interesting. I found I was on the edge of my seat so much. I read the last like 150 pages in one day because I was hooked so much. The last 150 pages were insanely good. There was I'm not gonna spoil it, but there was a what do you call this? A time restraint, I guess you could say. At the end, if you've read the book, you know what I'm talking about. And it was so tense because you're like, oh my god, is he gonna make it? You don't know if it's gonna all go well, and obviously you have an inclination that it will, because like there's other books, but it's just so tense, and you're like, Dan Brown makes you think one way, and then he reverts your the reality of it. There are so many plot twists. Oh my god, there were so many plot twists in this story. One of the big ones was, I will talk about in spoilers, but there was a huge plot twist that I never ever saw coming, and I literally just sat in my chair for like a couple minutes, and I was just had my mouth like to the floor. I was like, what? How? And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, how did Dan Brown do that? Yes, he foreshadowed. I think I'm gonna reread this and I'm gonna notice that he did foreshadow the plot twist. But he does it it's foreshadowing so good that I believed it when he told me, but it was like, how could I not see that? How could I not see that coming? And it many times, it's not just that big one that I'm talking about. There are many plot twists, like mini ones, and it's just like, yes, he foreshadowed it, but I did not see that coming. Like, he made you think that way. He did a bunch of red herrings in this book, and you just have to have the inclination in your mind that everything he tells you might not be real. I went through this book thinking, yeah, it might be mediocre. It was way better than mediocre, honestly. And I said this on my Goodreads review, link in description, and I learned, this is probably the book that I've learned the most ever from. Again, I learned religion, geography, history, but he made it so interesting, and I just came out of this book thinking, wow, what a good book. And obviously, I talked about the good things, and I will go to the bad things now. Which, can I think of any bad things? Yes, some of the characters weren't exciting. Some chapters that with the characters I was just like, I don't want to read about you. Yes, Dan Brown can have some really likable characters, and then some that are just like I don't really care. I really want to go back to Robert Langdon and the symbols and the whole puzzle that he's trying to solve. There were definitely favorable characters and favorable chapters than the other ones. Yeah, so I think that's all I really need to say about spoiler free. I just, if you come out of this review thinking one thing, it's you should read this book. Yes, Dan Brown is an amazing thriller writer, and you just pick up this book right away. Oh my god, just pick it up. And yeah, I think that's just the one major flaw is just Robert Langdon is the character you just want to read about all the time. The other characters are, yes, they might be interesting, but they're just like, come on, I want to go back to the puzzle. I want to solve the puzzle. I want to know what the answer to the puzzle is. I understand why Dan Brown did this. So after every chapter, there is a cliffhanger. There's like, oh, we solved the puzzle, but we're not gonna tell you to 3 chapters down. And I find that it's genius, but also so annoying. And I notice he does this in Deception Point, and he does this in Da Vinci and Angels and Demons. I don't know, I guess that's many thriller writers do this. I don't really read any other thriller writers, honestly. But so you read one chapter, and then the character says, we figured out the puzzle. And then the chapter ends, and you don't figure out the puzzle till 20 pages later. And so you just want to read the next 20 pages. So that's why this thriller book went by so fast. That's why I finished it in a few days. Because they figured out a puzzle, and then there's another puzzle, and then they figured it out, but you have to wait 20 pages, and then it's just repeating process. How you just, Dan Brown wants you to read the next chapter, and then go read the next one. He never wants you to stop reading. And it was so hard to put the book down at night. That's what I'm gonna say. Yeah, thanks for listening. This has been, my review of The Lost Symbol by Dan Brown. Absolutely amazing book. Only a few flaws. And I really highly recommend. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.